Hello everyone, this is Suzanne at God Crochet and Chatter. Welcome back. We have a new subscriber. Her name is Jana Lisa. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but it's a combination of her first and last name, which I thought was kind of unique. That's a very pretty name you have. I want to welcome all my new subscribers. I hope you find a home here at God Crochet and Chatter. We have been going through the Bible in a year. On Mondays, we do that. And we are now in the New Testament. I believe we did 1st and 2nd Timothy last time. So we are going to be finishing up that soon. It's been a really good study for us. We started way back in Genesis. Remember that? All right. And then during the week, I do devotionals. On Fridays, I do a movie or a book review. And on Thursdays, I'm starting, this is new for Thirsty Thursdays. Reading from a book. This is a very, very good book, and let's dig in. Man, Myth, or Messiah? History's greatest question. It is one of the strange quirks of human nature that we tend to believe wild and absurd things while doubting and dismissing the credible and important. This tendency to give credence to foolish and baseless speculations was satired in the long-running U.S. TV show Saturday Night Live. It ranks as one of my favorite comedy skits of all time. It was the one where there was an exchange between an angel and someone who had recently died and gone to heaven. The new arrival was quizzing the angel on all the unanswered questions and unsolved mysteries of his past existence. The dialogue went something like this. What happened to the $50 bill I lost at graduation? And who had a crush on me that I didn't know about? You get the picture. Finally, heaven's newest inductee asked, what is the thing that would surprise me the most if I knew it? The character playing the angel dramatically paused and then said, professional wrestling is real. Oh my. I guess what struck me as funny is that I've actually met people who believe that TV wrestling was authentic and not staged in entertainment. My grandmother was one of them. Of course, there are many people who consider silly things, such as UFOs or Elvis sightings, to be real. As Blaise Pascal wrote in his Pensées, the sensibility of man to trifles and its insensibility to great things indicates a strange inversion. This highlights the tendency to deny events that should be believed, like the Holocaust or Americans walking on the moon, and the fact that 9/11 was a terrorist attack carried out by radical Muslims, not a conspiracy of the U.S. government. Regrettably, the amount of misinformation and rumor is rampant in an age where every outlandish viewpoint has its own website and Facebook page. Finding the truth becomes hard work. It also requires our being willing to accept it, regardless of our own personal preferences or biases. And in other words, we must be willing to follow the evidence wherever it leads. While many spurious beliefs are relatively harmless and inconsequential, others would have devastating consequences, especially if real history is obscured and or ignored. This was never more obvious to me than when visiting sites like the World War II Nazi concentration camps, such as the one in Auschwitz, Poland, walking through massive rooms of shoes, suitcases, and hair in what remains one of the testimony to hell on earth, will dismiss any absurd suggestion that the Holocaust never happened. Millions of Jews were murdered in one of humankind's darkest moments. The same can be said of a trip to Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Memorial in Jerusalem. It is simply outrageous that someone could deny that these unthinkable events did not occur just 70 short years ago. 70 short years ago that happened. Forgetfulness of this kind is intentional, a deliberate refusal to remember. This seems to be an all too familiar pattern in history. That's because remembering is hard work and requires all our faculties to be unencumbered by bias and personal agendas. These These types of painful memories bring us back to the reality of the shameful proclivity in human nature toward cruelty and injustice. If left unchecked and unaccountable, the strong will dominate the weak and helpless rather than stand up and defend them, especially at the risk of losing our own lives or credibility. Excuse me. My cold is still with me yet? Okay, here we go. It is because of this fatal flaw in human nature that God sent his own Son in the likeness of humans to walk among us and model the antithesis of this kind of self-centeredness. Jesus Christ lived a life that went against that strong current of history. He lived a life that we should have lived, one that was morally and ethically spotless. No other figure in human history could or would make such a claim to be without sin. Jesus did. For this reason, it was the most unique and important life in history, one we cannot dismiss or ignore. Yet something so precious and amazing is rejected as an impossibility by skeptics who readily accept absurd and irrational explanations of our existence, especially if they are devoid of any moral implications. They frame all religious beliefs in a one-size-fits-all framework and dismiss it with the charge that faith is blind, or as they love to say, faith is believing what you know isn't true. Thanks. As atheist writer Michael Shermer states, religious faith depends on a host of social, psychological, and emotional factors that have little or nothing to do with probabilities, evidence, and logic. Nothing could be further from the truth. While there are many who believe in God without being aware of all the evidence and logic attesting to its truth, this doesn't mean that the evidence and logic don't exist. If you believe in God and are a follower of Christ, that faith is well-grounded in history and reason. Real faith isn't blind. Yet the scripture warns, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. If we desire not to be engulfed by a tsunami of digital absurdity, we must find the solid foundation of something that is true and trustworthy. It is much easier to sit back and flow with what culture is saying about something rather than sincerely and objectively searching for the truth, regardless of where the evidence may lead. Nowadays, it doesn't matter where the evidence leads, they still deny it. Every person has a right to know the truth, facts, and make his own decision. With that said, there are definitely pitfalls and dangerous, dark alleys in which you can get mugged and stripped of your faith. It's worth repeating. The voices you listen to in this journey of faith and discovery are critical. The next time we come on, we will read God's Not Dead Revisited. We all probably have watched the God's Not Dead series. Very well done. And throughout this book, we are going to study more on man, myth, or Messiah. And this book will certainly prove out that he was the Messiah. He was who he said he was. He was not just a mere man. Some people believe he was just a mere man, that he lived in some obscure village, a poor village, was a carpenter, and they don't take into account the historical facts, like the Holocaust being denied. People don't believe that happened. That never happened. Sad indeed, isn't it? And nowadays it's getting harder than ever to witness because people are so wrapped up in themselves and they don't want to look at the facts. They want to go on feelings. We can't go on feelings as Christians. We have to go on facts. And I stand that Jesus is the Messiah. All right, everyone, I hope you've enjoyed that. I enjoyed bringing that to you. We're going to be doing a chapter like that on Thursdays. And we are going to learn that indeed he was who he claimed he was. All right, I have something new. I bought these cards called Talking Point. And there's questions that are asked, and you think about it, and you can answer it to yourself. Maybe have a discussion with family and friends. So let's go to our question. How does your faith influence what you watch on TV or look at on the internet? How does your faith influence what you watch on TV or look at on the internet? Wow. I have my answer. Ron and I were just talking about this, that we have gone through several movies and gotten rid of them. And because they had a lot of GD in it, and we decided that we don't want to be listening to that. On the internet, we're very careful where we go. We play wholesome games. There was a game one time that I was playing. I really, really loved the game. But then it came up with Satan cards and different things. And I thought, oh, in my mind, I'm fighting against evil. And I tried to justify it. But anything that brings in Satan and Satan cards, I could no longer live with myself and in a good conscience continue playing that game. I have found several other games that I play that are most delightful, very cute, and they don't have all the violence or satanic things in it. As far as movies, we watch Back to the Future. Back to the Future, he says Jesus Christ sometimes, and he says God a lot. I don't believe he says the GD, but we are now deciding, okay, most of the movie is very entertaining, very nice, but do I want to hear that being said over and over again? This is a personal thing that we each have to think about, and if it doesn't sit right with you, don't do it. If anything doesn't sit right with you, that's your conscience telling you you shouldn't be watching this. There are so many good movies out there. The Lord of the Rings, the Narnia series, Little House on the Prairie. We have a lot of those type of things. We have a lot of Christian movies. And Star Trek. We are going through the Star Trek generations right now. And so I think this is something that would invoke a lot of discussion for us. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's it for today. I am going to go out a little bit later today. I am starting to get smart. I got online and I ordered a few groceries from Kroger's, and I'm going to pick them up. They bring them out to your car. So it's like, yeah, I think I'm going to start utilizing that because it's getting harder and harder for me with my knees, and sometimes just to walk around the store. And so I decided, yeah, I'm gonna test that out. So I put my small order in today, and I will be picking that up tonight between 7 and 8. And yeah, if it goes well, good. I didn't let them put any substitutes in. That's the key. Before they didn't ask you if you wanted to substitute. They just substituted something similar. Well, the similar things they were substituting, I didn't want. So you have to be a little careful on that. So who knows, in the future I may have them deliver them to my door. We'll see how that goes. Sometimes we have to pamper ourselves if we can, and the Kroger store is just across the street from us, so it'll just be a hop, skip, and a jump for me to go over there, and I'll call my lovely neighbor to say, hey, I got some heavy things. Can you help me carry them in? And she's so special to me. She helps us out a lot. All right, you take care. Lord willing, I'll be back tomorrow with another great devotional. I hope you've enjoyed this one. You take care. Any prayer requests, anything you want to share, please put it in the comment box below. Take care. Bye-bye.